Hey guys, we are back for another Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay review, taking a look at a figure that a lot of folks really seem interested in, and one that I just sort of passed over for quite a while. So today we're taking a look at the Elf Ranger figure from the Horsemen. We've got him there in the big bubble. He comes on the standard Mythic Legion's resealable card. We do not have a bio, but some product shots on the side, and then the back has that write-up and the same style of artwork that we've seen throughout the line. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the packaging, guys, our Elf Ranger figure, one of the more deluxe, or maybe more standard style, I guess, depending on how you look at it, Legion builders in the line. Because he's not really named as a Legion builder, but he's not a unique character, so you can definitely make a huge, contingent of Elf Rangers if you wanted, but he has all the same paint apps and sculpted detail that you'd expect, so he doesn't have kind of the dumbed down, more simplistic paint scheme that the actual Legion builders do. Of course, his price reflects that as well. But we have got a pretty interesting figure here. I'm really excited to finally take a look at this guy. Let's take a look first, as usual, at Articulation, see how he moves around. I'm expecting to not be surprised at this point, but let's run through it real quick. So we'll start at the head, and this guy obviously has got a cape on. He's already got his pauldrons because of the cape, and I figured I'd show that first because it definitely does hinder his articulation. There's just no way around it. The head is movable, but it can't really go up or down too much more than this. So you can sort of look down, but you can't really go up with the pauldrons on there. The pauldrons and the hood are sculpted in such a way so they kind of sit under each other, but it doesn't allow for too much movement without you really scraping things, so just keep an eye out. Arms do go out, but again, you're going to hit a lot of stuff here. There is no bicep swivel, as we know. You can swivel these at the shoulder, you can rotate at the elbow, and then you've got a single hinge, rotate at the gauntlet, rotate and hinge at the wrist. On this 2.0 style body, we do have the upper diaphragm twist, little side to side, back and forth, and then we've got the waist twist and a little front and back, side to side. Not too much, but it is there. Legs kick out, kick forward, kick back, thigh cuts, single jointed knee, and then we have got rotation, rocker, and we've got the hinge down at those ankles. So he has everything that you would expect for a 2.0 body as far as the slimmer figures go. He is just slightly more hindered with articulation when it comes to having, I guess, all of his stuff on him. Now, as far as the overall sculpt and the paint on this guy, it's exactly what you expect to get. That Four Horsemen quality in terms of the level of detail sculpted into these pieces, and then of course there's just paint everywhere on this figure. He is, again, a figure that we've seen over and over again. This is one of those more recent 2.0 bodies from the Advent of Decay line. So it's one of the slimmer bodies, and we've seen this style of parts reused quite a bit in the line. He's just one of those kind of standard elf guys. So he shares a lot of the same parts as figures like Grisha the Slitherer, or Ravenna, or the Elf King, for example. So we've seen a lot of this stuff before, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just worth pointing out. So we have got him done up in a lot of nice forest type colors. You've got these kind of bronze accents on the waist pads, on the shin guards down here. You've got the brown boots with a little bit of a wash in them, and then he's got the nice green leather scale type armor with the intense black wash on it. There's a lot of wash on there with the buckles painted up. All of the little baubles are painted and everything. And then you've got nice little forest green kind of accents that run down the pauldrons on through the wrists. It's just a nice foresty, kind of forest elf theme that really works exceptionally well with this figure. I think the idea of this guy being maybe a woodland elf with the ranger theme, it just really works. This is maybe like your Legolas type character from the Mythic Legions line. So you can make your Legolas type of figure on your shelf. And then of course he does have the flowing cape here, which works really well. This is the cape I wanted to have with the Elf King. I really think that figure needed one. This guy, of course, does come with it. You don't have to use it. It's optional, but I tend to always use them with these figures. I think there's only been one exception for that rule so far, but I really do like this. It's pretty similar to the colors that's on the armor. It's not necessarily the same color as the hood, and again, you can attach it a few different ways. It's kind of up to you. There's no real right or wrong way. There's no instructions, so put it on there how you want, and it hangs nicely. It hangs really well, flows. It's just long enough that it kind of drags on the floor, but it doesn't really get in the way either. So in general, this is a solid looking piece. It's everything you expect to get from the Horsemen in paint, in sculpt, and then the design in general just lends itself really well to the character they're trying to establish here. Of course, we do have a head to talk about as well, and it is shrouded in the hood. We've seen this a few times with other figures, and it's an interesting idea. I think it works pretty well with this particular figure. I think the Elf Ranger type of character does need a hooded head, and I think they did a good job with this. You can see that most of the head is kind of shrouded in shadow, though, so it might be a little difficult to see some stuff. We do have some nice bright green eyes under there, though, and the face is a great sculpt. Great paint on it, no real issues to speak of. The only real downside to having the hooded heads is that they do have slightly less articulation just because there's a whole glob of plastic on them, but they do look fantastic, and they work really, really well, especially when you get them paired up with a cape, a cloak. Everything just kind of flows and gets drawn together really nicely. So this is probably going to be my go-to head for this figure, but he does come with an extra one, which we will talk about when we look at accessories. Now for accessories, our Ranger comes pretty well stacked, and honestly he comes with exactly the kind of stuff I would expect him to come with. Nothing more, nothing less. So he does come, of course, with the pauldrons and the cape. We've already talked about those, but they can be considered accessories because you don't have to use them. But he does come with an extra head sculpt, and as you can see here, I've already swapped it out. He's got nice, long, flowing blonde hair, those bright green eyes again, you've got those pointy elf ears, and come on, if this isn't supposed to be kind of an homage to Legolas, I'm really not sure what it's supposed to be, because that's definitely it. And if you really wanted to go down that road, I'm sure you could make him into the Legolas figure that you wanted by mixing some parts around. But I think this is a fantastic head sculpt. It's really hard to not use this one for me because I really do like it, but at the same time I think the hooded head actually does suit the figure a little bit better. And then as far as actual quote-unquote accessories, we do of course have the strap, we've got all the back adapters, all that good stuff. We have got a singular arrow to go along with our bow and our quiver. So we've got all this stuff done up in the green, kind of forest green color with bronze copper piping on it, which looks really great. I like the idea of the copper and green color scheme for these guys. It kind of flows from the Elf King as well because that's his color scheme. We have got one of the standard daggers here, silver blade, black handle. And then we've got one of these standard swords here, silver blade with a kind of olive green handle on this one. So he's got, you know, just about everything you might want to have for an Elf Ranger figure on top of the extra head sculpt. So really he does come fully loaded to make multiple variations of the same figure. And especially if you want to army build this guy, you have a lot of options. So at the end of the day, outside of the fact that the hooded head does hinder articulation slightly, which it's to be expected, there is a bunch of stuff sitting on his shoulders. Once you've got that head, the cape, the pauldrons, things are going to move a little bit more tightly. Overall, this figure is really fantastic. I should have opened him and reviewed him a lot sooner, honestly, because this is a great figure. I love the color scheme. I love the parts choices on this guy. I love that extra head sculpt, but I still think I'm going to use the hooded one. And he comes with all of the accessories that this type of character should need. So you've got a lot of options here as far as army building or just to kind of play around with him and make him into different figures as you change up your display. He'll go alongside other elves really well, and he'll make a great counterpart to the Legion Builder as well as the Elf King. So it's a solid one all around. I would definitely recommend picking him up if you have any interest in this kind of figure. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay Elf Ranger figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.